Many of you, after spending few days, weeks or months in Poland, you're coming back home. So quite often you ask a question to yourself, what should I bring to my family? And most often there are two options, either the souvenirs like magnets, jewelry, etc., or you just have a bit different approach, because for you, the food is part of the culture and your family and your friends would like to experience as much culture as possible. I chose 5 top sweets, which I would bring to my friends or my family members if I would be coming to Poland and coming back from Poland. I chose products which are good for traveling abroad, within European Union and abroad. That's why I chose sweets. They're not fruits or dairy products like cheeses or meat, which might get off or you might have some technical problems on the borders in the countries of your destination. I chose sweets. I chose 5 types of sweets and additionally 1 option for those of you who have a bit more savory taste. Let's start with the first thing. These are Jeżyki. Jeżyki in Polish means the hedgehogs. Jeżyki, it's a mixture of completely different textures. What do I mean? Well, Jeżyki, it's covered in a smooth chocolate biscuit, which is crunchy. Additionally, have very chewy caramel, dried fruits and nuts, and rice crisps. All of it, completely different textures, make one of the favorite sweets of Polish people, called Jeżyki. The company producing Jeżyki is called Goplana. Goplana, that's actually an interesting story of the name of this company. To understand better, we'll come back 100 years back till 1910s to the city of Poznań. In 1910s, Poland didn't exist until actually 1918. For whole 1800s, until end of World War I, Poland was divided between 3 other states, Prussia, current Germany, Austria and Russia. Poznań was a city in Germany. And then investors who were starting and there in Poznań, investors who wanted to open a chocolate factory, they wanted to position these products, their chocolate products, to Polish citizens. Because the German citizens of Poznań, which were many German citizens there, they're preferring either the German or the Swiss products from Switzerland. So the Polish producers want to produce something for Polish people and position it as for Polish people. They chose to it the name Goplana. Goplana, it's a water nymph, like a creature, water nymph coming from the Gopło lake, not far away from Poznań. From the lake Gopło, Goplana name came, positioned for Polish people. Sweet number 2, the gingerbreads from Toruń, or actually the pepper breads. Let me open. So here you have Polish Pierniczki. The easiest translation will be the gingerbreads. And there are 2 most important types. There are either those ones which are plain with frosting above, around, or the gingerbreads covered with slightly bitter chocolate with a plum filling or other fruits filling inside. Smell beautifully. And I told you that there is a difference between gingerbreads and the Polish pierniczki. The first difference is the name. The gingerbread is coming from ginger. Pierniczki is coming from Polish word pieprz, the ground pepper. What's the difference? Well, the Polish pierniczki, Polish pepper breads, very important ingredient in it, it's the ground pepper. And then you have other herbs and spices inside, like cloves, you have anise, cardamom, and also ginger, but it's a mix. And the most important taste is the ground pepper. In Anglo-Saxon English gingerbreads, the most important ingredient is the ginger itself. So the next difference is actually the fact that the gingerbreads, the English gingerbreads, they are mostly thin and crunchy. not the Polish pepper breads. As you can see, the Polish pepper breads, pierniczki, they're quite thick. The Polish gingerbreads are very fleshy. The next difference is the sugar used for the production. The Anglo-Saxon gingerbreads, they're very often produced with sugar or the syrup, but no, Polish gingerbreads are traditionally produced with honey. That's what preserves them so well. And the next difference, well, the Anglo-Saxon gingerbreads, you make the dough, then you bake it. It's ready. Polish gingerbreads or Polish pepper breads, what do you do with it? You make the dough, then you keep it for days or even weeks, sometimes even months in cold. And then when the dough got mature, then you roll it and bake it. The most known Polish pierniczki are coming from the city of Toruń, same as the most known Polish astronomer and a man of Renaissance, Nicholas Copernicus. He was also coming from Toruń, the city of Toruń. And what's more, the pierniczki gingerbreads or the pepper breads were actually originally not that popular to be used as food. It evolved in time. There were actually different ways of using them. First of all, as a decoration. Yeah, in Toruń, people of Toruń were skilled in carving the wood of apple trees, plum trees, the hard wood. They were carving this wood to make some shapes, and then they were using it as form for the gingerbreads, pepper breads. Then they were baking those pepper breads and sending as presents, as diplomatic gifts to the popes of Vatican, to the Tsars of Russia, to the kings of Europe, to the bishops, as a diplomatic present coming from Toruń. They also used as a medicine. Why? Well, cloves, anise, cardamom, cinnamon, ground pepper. These herbs are having a very good digestive effect to help with problems with digestion. They were often sold in the pharmacies. What's more, also, our pepper breads, Polish pierniczki, they're made of those herbs and of honey, which was keeping the dough without almost any fat. It was keeping the dough good for a long time. It was a very good food for sailors, merchants, and travelers. Later, for next hundreds of years in medieval ages, this food evolved to what we know nowadays as Polish pierniczki with plum or other fruit filling or just in frosting. Sweet number 3 would be Śliwka Nałęczowska, which is a very long and confusing name. In 1964, there were a lot of plums which came, and people were thinking, what should they do with those plums? How to process it? Should we dry them? Should we make jam of it, marmalade, maybe some alcohol, etc., etc.? And then someone took this very meaty, very fleshy plum and covered it in a dark chocolate. That's how this sweet was created. That's a very premium Polish sweet. Śliwka Nałęczowska, the Nałęczów plum. Sweet number 4 will be favorite sweet of my friends, international friends, and my guests. I very often give to my guests few of those candies of my tours. Candies called Krówka candies. I'll open. Krówka candy. Krówka candy, it's a sweet Polish version of a fudge made of milk, butter. Butter is very important in taste, and sugar. My tourists like it so much that even a few days ago I received a photo of my tourist from Italy, from Carla, that she found Krówka candies or Krówka candies in Italy of some Italian brand, which means Krówkas are becoming more and more popular in the world. It's a Polish fudge, very buttery, rich in taste. This one is actually more crunchy than chewy. And actually, when krówkas, the fresh krówkas are created, they're very chewy. Then, when time is passing, the sugar is crystallizing and making the texture of krówka much more crunchy. And Polish nation is dividing in the middle into two camps. Half of Polish people are saying that they prefer the chewy krówka candy, which when you eat it, it makes you impossible for you to talk. And the second one is preferring the crunchy Krówka. I prefer the crunchy Krówka, so the a bit older ones. Talking about Krówka candies, very interesting part of it is the history of Krówka candies, and the creator of it, Felix Pomorski. That was a man who was born in late 1800s in an area of Poznań in a family of 10. His father, when Felix was 7 years old, sent him to Żytomierz in current Ukraine. There, Felix was working at his uncle's business. Years later, when his uncle died, Felix sold the building of his uncle. With this budget, with this money, he went back to Poznań. He created there a company producing one of the sweets which they're producing were sweets which he learned how to do in Żytomierz. Sweets made of butter, milk and sugar. Then he was packing those sweets into a paper with a little cow on it. Little cow in Polish, Krówka. They became more and more popular until 1939. In 1939, Poznań was incorporated into Germany, and Felix was expelled from this place. He had to move to areas of Warsaw, which were part of the occupied Poland by Nazi Germany, part of General Governorate. There, illegally, he started once again producing candies, and those candies were smuggled, illegally of course, to the bazaars of Warsaw, and they were very popular in Warsaw. These candies, Krówka candies, became one of the favorite candies of Polish people. And now it's the time for candy number 5, so we are almost at the end, called Ptasie Mleczko. In Polish, Ptasie Mleczko means the bird's milk. That's a beautiful package as for a present to give it to someone. What is Ptasie Mleczko? Let me open it. Here we have some comics made by a well-known Polish illustrator called Andrzej Mleczko. Mleczko in Polish means the milk. Ptasie Mleczko means the bird's milk. Andrzej Mleczko, it's a name and the surname of the artist, illustrator who made it. So it's kind of a joke. There's some comics and there's translation in English, cool thing. But Ptasie Mleczko is packed in such a box. Then you can open it. And what's inside? You have beautiful smell of chocolate. We can cut it. Ptasie Mleczko, it's actually bird's milk. It's actually a very milky vanilla flavored foam covered with slightly bitter chocolate. Amazing taste. I would say that Ptasie Mleczko, the bird's milk, is the king of Polish sweets. We love them. We give them as presents. We send them to our friends abroad. When I was living in Vietnam and working there as a tour guide in south of Vietnam, once I asked my tourists to bring me Ptasie Mleczko, and they brought me actually 5 boxes of Ptasie Mleczko. They took probably half of their luggage. Very generous of them. That's actually a beautiful present. What is the story of Ptasie Mleczko? The name of the company producing it is called Wedel, after Edward Wedel, the producer, the creator of the company. And that was the most known Polish chocolate company in Warsaw. In 1930s, Jan Wedel, the owner of the company, he was probably the best employer in the whole city. He was like a Polish version of Disney or Polish version of Ford from the cars. Why? Well, his employees were having kindergarten for their kids. They're having private medical care and dentist care. He was building apartments for them and also a house not far away from Warsaw for the holidays. Dream place to work. And once, the legend tells that Wedel, he asked his employees, is there something which I can do for you to make your life better? One of the workers, he raised his arm and he said, sir, the only thing which we need is the bird's milk. The bird's milk which doesn't exist. And Wedel didn't take it as a joke. He took it as an inspiration. He took a milky foam, he covered in a slightly bitter chocolate, and then he presented the bird's milk probably the most known Polish sweet among Polish people and a favorite Polish sweet of Polish people. And now I would like to share with you an option for those of you who have more savory taste, who don't like sweets so much. In this case, I recommend you probably one of the most popular Polish snacks, which are called Kabanosy. Kabanosy, which can be made of pork or of chicken or turkey, but the pork are the most popular ones, and actually from pork, Kabanosy takes their name from. What is Kabanosy? Kabanosy, it's a very thin and crunchy pork sausage. You can also buy the non-pork option, which makes special snap while breaking it. And Kabanosy, the name of it, Kabanosy, is coming from the word kaban. Kaban was a word used in current Lithuania, Belarus, and Ukraine for a pig. Pig which was eating a lot of potatoes, and thanks to those potatoes, the pig's meat was much more crunchy. So Kabanos means the food made of kaban, made of a pig, or the pig things. Kabanosy, thanks to the fact that they are dry and they don't make your hands dirty, was a favorite food of travelers in Poland in 1800s and also of hunters. Then it evolved, and actually Kabanosy became one of the most known world Polish export in times of 1900s, times of pre-world to Poland, but also communism. One rule about Kabanosy, please remember, if you're traveling abroad within European Union, there is no problem with traveling with Kabanosy, it's meat. But if you are traveling abroad of European Union, please check the border requirements if you can take it with you. If so, please take it. That's an amazing snack. Now you know what to bring to your family from Poland. Sweets like Pierniczki pepper breads in chocolate or without, Ptasie Mleczko, the bird's milk, Krówka candies, the little cow candies, Polish version of a fudge, or Śliwka Nałęczowska, the prune in chocolate. If you have a friend or a family member who prefers savory tastes, Kabanosy. I'll put the list below this film, below this podcast, so you can go to the shop and buy it anywhere you are in Poland. Just please keep in mind the stories which I shared with you, because the food tastes better with a cultural and historical background. And thanks to it, the value of such a gift is rising. My name is Łukasz. I'm a tourist guide of Warsaw, the capital of Poland. If you enjoyed this video and or podcast, and you're afraid that you might lose the next videos, because there is such a possibility, I post quite often, but you are not going to receive information about it unless you subscribe me or follow me. Please do it, and please let me know, what is your favorite Polish sweet? Bye!